earth I'm in. Oh, man. Hope it's not in my face. Okay, there we go. Yeah, my beard's growing. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to get around to cutting my hair. So, you know, there's a lot of people telling me to cut my hair. It's like, well, yeah, I'm going to do that, but in my own time. I'm not going to do it when you told me to do it. I'm going to do it in my own time when I feel like cutting my hair. Because that's how life works. Anyway, yeah, peace and blessings. Yeah, the title is Christianity, Us and Them. I mean, you know, I wanted to do something like this for quite some time because I feel like, especially when it comes to discourse online and, you know, especially at Speaker's Corner, a lot of us could be blinded to the fact that Christianity is it's a religion of service. And one of the things that I've been challenged with, and I still continue to be challenged with, is just the idea that, you know, the Bible will say things like, you know, they are dead in their sins and transgressions, you know, that they are totally depraved, who are not believers. And yet we've got this other side of love your neighbour, do good to those who are even your enemies, who even pursue you in hatred, you ought to do good to them. And it's like, when you see both of these things, how do you interact with the world in a certain personal level? And I think really Christ has not called us essentially to feel as if we need to be at enmity with everybody. That's not how this works. Now, you know, evidently false doctrine is false doctrine, and you can't sweep it under the rug, but at the same time you can't forget the value of the person that were created in God's image, irregardless of whether they're totally depraved or not. You know, as a Calvinist perspective would concur, like, you still have to deal with the fact that God created them, you know. And it's like, well, yeah, you have to deal with that. You have to accept that. You know, I feel like oftentimes, especially when it comes to, you know, those who may think are depraved or sinning, who may think, oh, these are less than human beings, it's easy to rationalize that way because, you know, some people you get who are so averse to you that they're willing to even do you wrong for their purposes of upholding their presuppositions or ideologies, you know. And it's kind of not good conduct if we as Christians are behaving the same way as them. And I always say, look, I could do so much better in terms of my conduct and the way I'm displaying myself and, you know, what I do, you know. Because like, the truth is, like, whether you like it or not, all of us are going to end up on our deathbeds at one point in our lives. All of us will end up, you know, basically donning white robes. You're saying lagging. It's not lagging on my side. I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, all of us will end up. How you doing, Ella? All of us will end up wearing white robes and, you know, donning hospital clothes in the bed and all that stuff. And, you know, that's just the coming fate that weighs all men. You know, all of us will go to the crematorium. You know what I mean? And that's it. And for many, they think that's the way it is, that you die and then you no longer exist. Obviously, I don't believe that. I think existence is more than just the experience we have now, and it transcends the experience we have now. As a Christian, I believe that Christ is God. He is the way, the truth, and life. There's no other way to salvation but through Him. You know, and that God so loved the world, He gave His only begotten Son. Whoever believes in Him shall not perish but shall have everlasting life. They're saying White Horse Day. I don't know what that means. White Horse Day? Yeah. I was talking about donning white robes, because when you're in a hospital bed, you don, you know, basically the clothes that you have to wear before you pass out. Now that's if you're lucky enough to die of natural causes. There's so much more horrible ways to die. You know, dying of natural causes won't be a bad thing. Nobody wants to die in the first place. You know what I mean? You know, normally we're talking out of sadness and depression when we want to say things like, I want to die, stuff like that. Not necessarily, no. I would technically want a break, but I mean, it is what it is. But I don't want to dox myself. I don't want to dox myself. You know what I mean? I have not sat down for a bit, so yeah. How are you guys doing? I've only got a bit of time actually, so I'm not going to be long on this, but yeah, it's no, it's just one thing after the other with these online debate groups, so to speak, and I don't want to be toxic and, you know, just in it for the sake of ego. I know I can be ego. I know I can be egoic. I don't want to be, that's the issue. It's about knowing that middle ground. I remember saying to Sarah, like, you know, or even thinking about Sarah, because I haven't spoken to her in ages, but I remember thinking about Sarah, like, and just thinking about how she behaves and her conduct when it comes to others, and especially when she shared with us, like, why is the serpent's harmless and stuff? So how do we do that? How do we engage in that? I'm not going to tell anybody on this live, bro. You know what I mean? Nobody needs to know that, bro. The reason why I don't is because, yeah, I just don't. We make the best of you. Absence the body. Absence from the body means present with the Lord, exactly. And we should rejoice in that. Absence from the body means presence from the Lord. You know, but it's not something that we just happily just jump in and do. I mean, Advaita, a bit of advice for Advaita. Oh, come on, my life, tell me that. I don't know what that was, bro. That was a bit weird. Can I touch my nose with my toes? No. Nah. I mean, I couldn't do it if I wanted to. Did your voice made you should do audiobooks? Well, I have done a Church Father series on this channel. If people want to watch that, they can. I want to do more reading in general, but it just depends whether people are actually invested in it. So if you're invested in, you know, hearing my voice, you want me to read stuff, you know, and, you know, you like Christian theology and stuff like that, I'm happy to read a few Church Fathers. Again, I've got to read Origen. He's somebody that I've wanted to read on here for a while. I've read Origen personally, but I've wanted to read Origen on here for a while now. So yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, when we look at the likes of Restore Britain, let's say Restore Britain, right, with Charlie Downs, a supposed Roman Catholic. Now, I'm not saying all Roman Catholics represent his ideal. Evidently not. There are Roman Catholics who are evidently decent people who are not racist. But then there's Charlie Downs, who's said that he wishes that people who are migrants, who are here, should be deported, and people who are second, third, fourth generation British should be removed as well, which is absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. But obviously that's an opinion, you know. We don't have to take that opinion seriously, but when it comes down to it, it's so easy to be us and them with such people because they are us. You know, they think that we're just scum of the earth, that we have no value. You know, and then we'll use examples of, you know, people of my skin colour doing atrocious things. I mean, if you've gone on X, man, seriously, it's ridiculous. You go on X and Twitter, you're seeing all sorts of madness. You know, stuff that I won't co-sign. I mean, I was in a Sainsbury's in Clapham the other day, and I saw a little girl become very rambunctious. She started smashing up the place. I think she was like 14, all because she wasn't allowed to have a buzzball, which is like alcohol for 18-year-olds. I mean, it's a good thing she wasn't allowed to buy the alcohol, because I don't know what she would have done with it. You know, but there is this going thing where it's suggested that we're all the same. And that's the mindset that we need to stop having. We're not all the same. Not all Christians are the same, let alone all ethnicities or all people of ethnicities. It's not the same thing. And it comes from a culture of people who've never really experienced the world. I went up to, the other day, I went up to, where was it? With the boys and Amy, we went up to Butlins. And that area around it, the name I've forgotten, the area around it is basically Restore. You know, how you doing, Dex? How you doing? God bless. You know, and it's like, I looked around and I realised there's nobody here. There's nobody here. So it's a constituency, which is Restore Britain. There's this big voter, but there's nobody here. It's not like London where you're seeing a ton of different multicultures and multi-ethnicities, you know, but there's nobody there. You look like that guy who eats the peppers Or Dr. Pepper. I don't know who you're talking about, mate. Honestly, I wouldn't be able to co-sign on that guy who eats the peppers because I don't know who that is. But yeah, man, honestly, you know, the one thing I've learned as I've gotten older is like, yeah, these ideologies were always in mass, but I've noticed a growing of it, especially on like X. As soon as freedom of speech came in, people thought, yes, be racist. And obviously not all people are racist, but there is, you know, a growing minority that are just like, yeah, to hell with all of you. You know. And so I can't co-sign on these toxic ideologies, even though I'm not liberal. I can't co-sign on these toxic ideologies. It seems as if people say you're conservative or liberal, and that doesn't just quite sort of respect the nuance of the situation. That I wouldn't even vote for the Conservatives, and I wouldn't vote for the Liberals. There's a load of grey areas here. Yeah, and that's why it makes people not want to really engage in politics anymore. Yeah, some haven't got a new heart, exactly. Some haven't got a new heart. Growing up, I was never taught racism. My grandmother was a white one. And, you know, best friends I had were white and Indian. And it just never occurred to me. It's like, you know, when you're used to something, you have to learn to be racist, by the way. It's not something you just grow up with. It's something you have to learn. You know? I remember when I was younger, I was taught a lot of, I was told a lot about, you know, ethnic differences and slavery, but I was never really in a family where it just meant something. It was just said in passing. This is a random question. Are you, if anyone knows, neurodivergent in life? No. I know somebody who's neurodivergent, that would be James, but I am not neurodivergent myself. I've never been neurodivergent. You know, neurodivergence can manifest in many different ways. I'm not, but me personally, I'm just not. That's never been me. In fact, I haven't been diagnosed with any sort of or form of autism or mental illness at all, other than PTSD. And it is mild PTSD. I don't have flashbacks and all that stuff, but my hands do shake. You know, I mean, yeah, but I don't. So I'm sure there are people who get a lanyard and they can apply for certain benefits under that system and stuff like that. But for me, no, I'm pretty much straight, mate. So unfortunately, I can't do that. You know what I mean? You know, there are people who would consider me neurodivergent because they would like to be rude, but none of them are professionals in medical. None of them are doctors. None of them are GPs. They're just idiots. So I mean, I don't really take their opinions that seriously. So yeah, what was I going to say? It's a nice hot day today. I was just speaking about this us and them mentality. And I'm not saying this therefore precludes ecumenism, because I truly believe that ecumenism is wrong. But, you know, are we called to love certain people? Yes. But, you know, that love cannot manifest as an acceptance of them, what they're doing. Why not tell the people who you know about it, since companies know about, don't tell people. Lex works, I should. I think there are people, I mean, my wife, wink wink nudge nudge, used to work for certain specific companies that engage in mental health services, and so she knows already about that stuff. But as for, and my mother-in-law has a sort of illness which enables her, unfortunately doesn't enable her to move. So yeah, so I think there are people that know about this. I don't think there aren't. You know, it's the same with any form of illness. You can get help for it. So but that's not my sort of prerogative here. I'm not somebody who would actually actively be a participant in such things. So yeah, even a lot of abusers. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that certain mental health services and stuff like that is not looked into more. There's a lot of services actually. There's charities that can help you if you're homeless, get quite far, but unfortunately they're not as known to everybody. But I had some help like years ago, where a charity helped me to get not a property, but it helped me to get a place. But this was like, you're talking a good many years ago, man. Well, when I was 18, so I mean I'm 31 now, so yeah. Well, not many years ago technically. Interesting. I don't know. I would need to look that up. Maybe I will LexWorks. Maybe I will look up specific stuff on that. But it's just not something I've been engaged with. I've been busy doing other things. You know. And my PTSD, obviously in the past it would have affected me more emotionally, but now it leads to handshaking. And when I was younger, that's why on certain videos you'll see me handshaking a lot. You know, well, I'm all good for it. Do you think someone can apostatize from Christianity and still be saved? Michael Schwartz, I don't believe that would be the case for anybody who's truly born again. I believe if somebody's truly born again, then their salvation is in the hands of God, and that's what Jesus is saying in John chapter 10 verses 28 to 30. Their salvation's in the hands of God, not themselves. Because if salvation was in our hands, mate, we'd have already lost our salvation. And that's where people don't understand just exactly how salvation works. You know, sure, in my mind I think, oh well, I could just stop being a Christian. But, you know, in my heart I couldn't. And that's where, you know, even if I was to say, oh, I'm not Christian anymore, my heart wouldn't allow me. It's beautiful actually. There's a stop there where it's like, I know for a fact that that stop is there because of not me, but because of God. You know, and I mean it sincerely. Like, you know, even in hard times, you know, it doesn't matter what the time is. Of course, the Lord, I pray the Lord don't put that to test, because you know there could be awful times, you know. But yeah, there was no good or God or devil. No, God exists. God exists. He is the first cause of all reality. He loved me and created me before the foundation of the world, insofar as He chose me before the foundation of the world, so that I might believe in Him. So God exists, my friend. You know, we don't look at a perfectly good-looking cake and think that nobody made it. Like, you know, nobody does that, and that's just a basic argument. I know I would make a more extreme argument, but right now I've got to go back and do something. But yeah, people do perish due to lack of knowledge. Now as for judgment, that's where, you know, even I've been confused by judgment. I've been like, well, how does judgment work if God has already chosen us before the foundation of the world? I do believe it's for His glory, but that's not my goal. That's not my remit. God has not revealed that to me. That's what we've got to start saying, is God has not revealed that to me. Probably another Big Bang merch. Yeah, there's been plenty of them. You know, Big Bang merch is a mass. It's like, oh, I didn't see the Big Bang, but I believe it anyway. But God, nah. What? Oh, man. It is what it is. How's the dating life? I'm married, my friend. I don't date. I mean, DJ, if you look on this channel, you'll see that I'm married. You know what I mean? I always get people coming in and say, accuse me of being a virgin, all sorts of stuff, and I'm like, you've not watched this channel, have you? I can already tell you're new here. God's fully grown, only a day old. God made fully grown. I mean, yeah. I think I would have thought it's common knowledge by now, man. I mean, who's that woman you're seeing me in videos with? Female without purely actual being who has an actuality in themselves to change wouldn't exist. It would then be a forever chain of things with no power to change is impossible without purely actual being. I mean, I would agree with that actually. I don't think I would not agree with that. I think that's one of the issues that Calvin had with free will, is that, you know, when you say free will, what are you actually meaning? You meaning The ability to choose outside of God's sovereignty? I would say no. But to choose within the precepts of it, yes. So there's a difference between the choice outside of God's sovereignty and God's choice within God's sovereignty. But I think where I disagree with you on there is just exactly how that starts. I believe that, human beings lost the right to engage in God's sovereignty, so they lost the right to free will after the fall of Adam and Eve. And the only reason why I affirm that position is because of the moral, not the moral conundrum, but just the issue surrounding it. I don't know what my eyes are burning. What's going on? I'm talking to the guy who said God doesn't exist. It's a free will. Fair enough. Fair enough. But even if you are, I just wanted to point out, free will I find to be an interesting topic. It is an interesting topic. It's not something we can ignore, especially when it comes to how God operates in the Old and New Testament, as that is our standard of being able to determine who God is and what He's doing. So how I see it is how I see it is look, if God has clearly chosen us for a foundation world, that's correct. But if you say that human beings have no thought at all, then you'd be engaging in the wrong understanding of the gospel. Are you unkind since following Jesus? Definitely, yes. I've been unkind since following Jesus, but here's the difference. Since following Jesus, I know I have. In the sense that I don't make justifications for it. Since Jesus, I've had more patience, more self-control, more loving, and that's all due to the Holy Spirit, not even me. I can't attribute it to myself. Where's Hamza? I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell you. I don't know where Hamza is. Well, I would say in the more, and here's the interesting thing, because Jesus is the standard of morality, I think everybody is. I think you've got a point there. I think everybody is trying to follow Jesus, even if they don't even want to or don't even know it. Because ultimately, to say anything that is good, or to be loving, or to try to be kind, or to love your neighbour, that's precepts based upon Jesus. But many need to understand that Jesus is the cause of that and embrace that. And I think I've seldom met people opposed to Jesus who've actually understood what the Bible has to say about him. It's just when atheists say like, oh well, God doesn't exist, blah blah blah. And, it comes from a place of misunderstanding, and it's not based upon truth. It's based upon an assumption about reality. But where's Hamza? I don't know. Oh, so hot, man. Honestly, you guys should have fun today, man. It's like I'm saying you guys should have fun and have to go back and do something, man. It's really, but even to the evenings now, I've noticed the weather's changed, because like in the past, like you're talking a good few months ago, it was literally dark at this time. Around this time it would be dark. So around this time it would be dark, and then it would essentially be dark the entire day, and it'd be cold. And now the weather's changing to the point where even wearing this is hot. By the way, I've got this baggy top from George. I don't know. They brought back like these 2012, check flipping hoodie tops. They brought them back. The ones that Justin Bieber. I thought, you know what? Forget, man. I wouldn't have worn it back in 2012, but you know what? It is what it is. Different time. And I don't care about fashion anyway. It doesn't concern me at all. Yeah. Anyway, hope you guys are having a blessed day. blessed by the Lord. I want to get back in. Somebody said gym. I want to get back into the gym. It's just been busy. The other thing is, because of my legs stiffening up, every time I try to run or do any sort of form of training, I can't do anything about it. I need to go to a doctor and have it checked out because it's seriously annoying. It seizes up. What other training am I doing? Well, I do have dumbbells at home. They're 22 kg, but I haven't been able to do them because my leg's seizing up. So yeah, my leg keeps seizing up. That's why I can't do it. So I don't know what's going on. It's only with a walk that it doesn't play up. It's kind of interesting. If I walk, it doesn't seize up. But if I dare, let's say, to run like I used to, because I used to run a lot when I was younger, and if I dare to do any form of squats or any form of because you have to, if you do because I used to do a body coach dumbbell workout a long time ago. I say a long time ago, it's like 2 years ago, but I mean, I used to do that and then my leg would cramp up. So yeah. If you were in East, I'd what? Whoa, wait, box. What do you mean you lick me? Wait, what? Hey, bro, look, I'm gonna tell you this. For one, I'm a married man. Two, I don't swing that way, bro. I don't swing that way. I don't know why you aren't. I've never, you know what I mean? I've never seen that kind of discourse. I don't know why I keep feeling attracted homosexual. I mean, do I just look the part or something? Like, you got to tell me whether I need to grow out this beard or maybe I need to cut my hair, because I don't know whether I look too feminine or something. Because I've got a whole dude telling me he's going to lick me. What? Oh my God. What's going on, bro? It is what it is, man. It is what it is, man. Enough respect, man. I don't know what. Saying that, that's between you and Christ. You do attract them, but this is what I mean. I'm attracting them, and I don't know whether it's just because of how I look. Maybe I need to shave my hair. I don't know. I don't know what it is, because I'm married, man. I'm married to a woman, bro. You know what I mean? I'm not even laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I'm generally shocked at how much I'm attracting to me. Boy. By the way, I'm in a certain area. That's why I'm not saying it outright. But yeah, it's my voice. Oh man, you see, that's what it is. You see, it's this smooth jazz-like voice. You know, that sounds like butterwood and milk. I knew it was. Oh man. You see, I can't help it unless I get a voice box thing like Michael Jackson did. I can't help it. But then if I did that, my voice would be even more squeaky, which I don't want. So I don't want the opposite to be true. You know what I mean? I can't be attracting Shishy. Oh man. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Yeah. Lift Jesus high, brings the crowd. Yeah, exactly. Indeed, Jesus is Lord. But anyway, I'm going to jump off because I've got to go and do something. But yeah, I hope you guys have a blessed Thursday. We're going to go, I mean, I'm hoping we're going to go do some evangelism this weekend. Hopefully. But we'll have to see. Anyway, take care.